Muhammad ﷺ before our very eyes in Carnival in Trinidad. He said sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam that the majority of children who will be born would be illegitimate children, bastard children. Why? Because people will be having sexual relations without marriage. Why? Marriage is for the birds. The institution of marriage eventually disappears. Why would the institution of marriage disappear? He said, amongst the signs of the last day is that one man would have to maintain, how many? 50 women. It is a prophet of Allah who can prophesy this. That hasn't come as yet. But it's coming. What will cause this? A precipitous decline in baby boys being born. So that almost all that are born will be baby girls. Is the explanation residing somewhere in the male biological being? Is the explanation located somewhere in the, come up in front, come. In the production of sperm? Could it be that the production of sperm, male sperm, is in some way linked with the food that we eat? Could it be that by changing the genetic composition of food and eating genetically modified food, that the food that we eat can no longer produce the sperm that they're supposed to produce? Could it be that environmental pollution has something to do with it? Could it be that a life of stress, I mean, just look at the man's face and you feel sorry at him, sorry for him. Because that face is written, worries and pain and lines all over that face. You just look at the man's face and you feel sorry for him. Oh, woman as well. You don't see any peace and contentment and tranquility on the face anymore. You don't see any nur, any light on the face anymore. And so there's no peace in the heart. Could it be that that stress affects the quality of the production of sperm? I don't know. But there is going to be this precipitous decline in the birth of baby boys. When you have this great disparity between the number of men to the number of women, well then, who will win the elections? If it's 50 to 1. Women control elections. Every election, they will win it. And they will take over from men, take over public life, take over the control of public life. That's going to be like an upside down world. As though the sun is rising from the west. But the other side of the coin is if you have 50 women to 1 man, only very few women will have husbands. And at that time when a woman has a husband, she would be paying very careful attention to the hadith. You know which one? Trust in Allah, but tie your camel. The overwhelming majority of women would not have husbands. Okay? If the overwhelming majority don't have husbands, and marriage involves 1 man and 1 wife, then how will these unmarried women deal with the situation? Easy. Marriage will have to go. You'll have to dismantle the institution of marriage, and that has already started. When you see divorce taking place, commonplace, 1 in every 2 marriages ending in a divorce. Tomorrow will be 2 in every 3 ending in a divorce. It's only a matter of time before marriage itself disappears, and then the prophecy is fulfilled. The overwhelming majority of babies who are born will be born outside of marriage. He said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, that women would dress like men. Have you seen her? I have. When she's going to work. When she's going to work, I put on work clothes, office clothes, not party clothes. Party clothes is different, work clothes is different. When she go to work, she has to dress like a man. Go office she going. So she has a jacket. I don't mean to hurt the feelings of anyone. No, this is not my intention. I simply want to concentrate on facts. Facts. She has to dress like a man. So there's a jacket. A jacket. There's trousers. And I have also seen her with a tie. So she dresses like a man. Well, the Prophet ﷺ cursed. This is the hadith. It is from Tabarani. Oh, this is the one about nakedness. There will be, in the last days of my ummah, women who would be dressed and would yet be naked. Curse them! A command. Fir'am. Curse them! Curse them! For they are accursed. Now the second hadith from Al-Hakim. Ibn Umar radiallahu ta'ala narrates that the Prophet ﷺ said, he is not of us who imitates woman, and she is not of us who imitates men. Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala now narrates 2 ahadiths which are in Tabarani. The Prophet ﷺ cursed the man who wears woman clothing. With my own eyes, I saw Rudy Giuliani dressed as Marilyn Monroe. And singing, happy birthday, Mr. President. The Prophet ﷺ cursed the man who wears woman clothing. Today, when they dress up like a woman, you can't tell it's a man. And he cursed the woman who wear men's clothing. Curse them. And the next hadith. Women who are naked, even though they are wearing clothing, are women who have gone astray. And they will cause others to go astray. They will not enter into paradise, nor will they even smell the fragrance of paradise, even though that fragrance can be smelled from afar. So they dress like men to go to work. The feminist revolution says to them that you need to go to work, so that you're not dependent on those brutes called men for your livelihood. Independence and freedom is meaningful only when it has economic independence in it. And so they go to work and dress like men. When they go to work, there is now rivalry between the male and the female, because she is invading and taking over what was previously a man's domain. He worked to maintain her and the children. But now she's working not to help him. No. She's working because this is freedom for her and independence. He has a career. I can also have a career. And so there's going to be friction now between the male and the female. An adversarial relationship will exist between the male and the female. And now we come to the verse of the Quran, before we return to the slave woman. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spoke about the creation of the male and the female, He established an analogy with the creation of the night and the day. Look in the sky and you will see that the night and the day are eternally attached to each other. They are not rivals of each other. They don't fight each other and quarrel with each other and pot and pan flying all over their house. No, they are attracted to each other and they complement each other like two halves coming together to make a whole. And look up in the sky and you'll see it. Secondly, if there was no night, only day, who would want to live in such a world? And if there was only night and no day, who would want to live in such a world? It is when you have day and night that now it becomes something to be enjoyed, something meaningful, something that makes sense, something that works. When the day is performing the duties and functions of the day, and the night is performing the duties and functions of the night, then the system works perfectly. But look at something else. When the day is coming to an end and approaching the night, do you notice the excitement as the day is approached, about to enter into the arms of the night? There is excitement. There is a longing for each other. And that excitement is revealed in the painted sunset. All the colors of the sunset mirrors the excitement of the day as he approaches the night. And so when the day is day and the night is night, there is attraction for each other. Notice that is a very important point. We would not want to do anything that would diminish that attraction or destroy that attraction. No. Then the day enters into the arms of the night, and all through the night there's a time for rest, and there's a time for sleep, and there's a time for love, and there's a time for worship, and there's a time for meditation, and then there's a time to say goodbye. And as the day is leaving now, the night is holding on to him. Because when the day arrived with the night, it was like a whole big ball of fire going down into the sea. But now when the day is departing, it's one ray of light at a time. Slowly, slowly, slowly the light comes. That is the night holding on to the day. The intense attraction for each other. When this attraction remains intact, then the system works. But what does the feminist revolution do? The night now attempts to become day. Anything a man does, a woman should have the freedom to do it. In other words, what the feminist revolution is doing, the bottom line is this, that it is attempting to change the status, role and function of woman in society ordained by Allah. What is that function? What is that status? What is that role? The Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, that when all of mankind stand before Allah on the last day, they will stand as equal in His sight as are the teeth of a comb, male and female. And the Quran declared about all human beings